All right, I told y'all, part two, the defensive side of the Jackson State 2023 signing class breakdown video would be sometime this weekend. And here it is. Cue the intro. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the BlitzCity Podcast. And listen, I'm not going to do much excess talking. This is part two, Jackson State National Signing Day. Let's get it. Let's go. So the first guy we're going to start off with is Guthrie. 6'2", 175 pounds, one of your biggest gets of the offseason. What more needs to be said about Asias that isn't said already? Number one, that's my guy. Number two, my man was all MEAC at Delaware State. At one point, he was top 5 in the conference for interceptions. He's a ball hawk, a true ball hawk, and a true playmaker. On top of that, man, Senior Bowl watch list. And he continues to garner more NFL attention as well. On top of that, he's just an All-American safety. You just got a sure thing at safety, at DB. Asias is just that guy. There's nothing more for me to say. And also, I don't know if he wanted me to share this information with y'all. And I was very hesitant to do so. But Asias was recently at the doctor. And he got some news from the doctor regarding a scan that he did. And I'm going to put this up for you to see. Guys, this is a little bit graphic. So if you can't bear to watch this, or if you have an uneasy stomach, I suggest you turn away now. But here it is. My guy has that dog in him. He has that dog in him. After Asias Guthrie, man, we got a guy who I'm very excited for. His name is Nyrique Sharp. Now, Nyrique Sharp was a very underrated get for you guys, just because as a 3-star cornerback, Nyrique is really good. I mean, listen, 6'2", 175 pounds from Stockbridge, Georgia. He reminds me of Sauce Gardner in his play style. He really does. This man has NFL potential. I think he's one of these kids who has NFL potential, who you will see in a Shrine Bowl or a Senior Bowl whenever his time at Jackson State is done. He's very technically sound, okay? He's a man corner, but you knew that already. He could play press man, he can play off, he can play zone. It does not matter. Nyrique Sharp, not only does he have the size, but he also has the speed to keep up with defenders. So even if you do beat him off the line, he's not going to be far behind you. All right, Nyrique Sharp is a guy who, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing on the field his freshman year. I think he's that good, and I think he can show. I'm not saying he has to be a starter, but I'm saying Nyrique Sharp could really show you that he deserves playing time as a freshman. I like everything about this kid, man. Reminds me of Sauce Gardner. Not comparing him to Sauce, but man, do I just love the way this kid plays the game. I am a big fan of Nyrique Sharp, or have become a big fan of Nyrique Sharp. So we'll see what happens with him. After Nyrique, you got Tim Stewart, the safety transfer from Troy University. Now, Tim Stewart was a much-needed addition to this Jackson State secondary because you lost a lot of pieces, but you also retained very valuable pieces and gained some big guys as well. When it comes to the safety position, though, Tim Stewart at 5'9", 191 pounds, brings a lot of experience. He brings a lot of much-needed experience to this Jackson State secondary. Coming from the FBS level, he knows what to do. He knows the ins and outs of college football. He's been there, seen it at the highest level of college football. So Tim Stewart joining your school was a great thing. On top of that, now, before Troy, he was at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. So, I mean, like I said, he just brings seniority and he brings experience. So this is going to be a great thing for Jackson State. And I'm actually happy that they got Tim Stewart. After Tim, though, we're going back to the guys coming out of high school. Tristan, Seon, the 4-star cornerback, 6'1", 160 pounds from James Rickard, Florida. Remember, we were all very excited when you guys got Tristan Seon. He was with Jackson State from the very beginning, and his faith has not wavered since he announced that. Yo, Tristan Seon is really a talented guy. He's a talented individual. He's a 4-star for a reason. So you're going to have to see him put weight on, which I already know he will do before the season starts because he's still in the offseason, but he's coming in at 160 pounds. He's at 160 pounds right now. He's going to have to put on weight. But when he does, talented individual, talented back. I'm glad that you guys got him. We'll see, because it looks like the depth in that cornerback room is starting to get a little bit bigger now. So we'll see where Tristan Seon falls on the depth chart, but he's going to have a chance to come in and prove that he deserves playing time in his freshman season. He is a 4-star recruit after all. After Tristan Seon, we got Stanley Cooks, the three-star defensive tackle who a lot of people did not see coming when Jackson State and T.C. Taylor landed him. This is a kid who could have been at the FBS level. Stanley Cooks, man, comes from Hawthorne, Florida. And when I watch his tape, he's really just a disruptor through and through. That's all you can say about him. He's a disruptor. When I see this man play, I think back to Nick Fairley at Auburn University. Why? Because he doesn't have to get the tackle to mess up your play. He wreaks havoc on any offensive line that he sees on the field. He's just that good, right? Honestly, I think with his talent and with the potential that he has, he could be better than Katron Evans. He can be better than what Katron Evans was for you. And that's not a diss to Katron, because I was a fan of Katron. And now he's at Charlotte, of course, but I was a fan of Katron Evans. So I'm saying, as good as Katron was for you guys, Stanley Cooks could be better, because he has the strength of an ox right now, and he's only going to continue to get stronger. So we'll see what happens. After Stanley Cooks, we're going to Madison Central, where we got Braxton Barney. Now, here's a kid who I'm very excited about, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't understand why Braxton Barney wasn't ranked higher than what he was. I don't even think he had a ranking, and that's what gets me. Braxton Barney is 6'5", 215 pounds, and he's a defensive end from Madison Central, Mississippi. When I watch this man's tape, he not only is he technically sound, he has great pad level coming off the line. Great pad level, enough athleticism to really contain the edge consistently. On top of that, he has a great motor and he has great pursuit. So what is it about Braxton Barney that doesn't even yield him to have 2 stars or 3 stars? Like, what is it? I'm not seeing what was wrong with Braxton Barney that he couldn't at least get a 3-star ranking. He should have been at least a 3-star prospect. This is a steal for Jackson State. This is one of those steals for Jackson State that's going to pay off in the long run. Why? Because if he's coming into college already with that mindset of the lower man wins and the pad level that he plays with, oh my God, imagine when he gets that development under him. Just imagine. He's going to be a force. He's going to be a force for Jackson State. He's going to come in. He's going to learn from guys like Niles Gaddy, okay? And he's going to continue to get better. You got you a steal with Braxton Barney, okay? After Braxton Barney, we got Noah Bulley, a 3-star linebacker who has been committed to you guys when Coach Prime is there and still stay loyal. And I absolutely love that. So Noah is 6'1", 210 pounds. And man, what can I say about Noah that hasn't been said already when I talked about him earlier, other than his play recognition is instantaneous. His play recognition, this man knows what's going to happen. He knows who's going to get the ball before everybody else on the field even does. And I don't know how he does it. He strikes me as a kid who really puts in time in the film room. Okay, he's an immovable object on top of that. I mean, if it's him and the running back and they're both running full speed and the running back's trying to get that first down, if Noah hits you, he's not moving backwards. You're going backwards. You feel me? He's an immovable object. That's what I mean by that. Also, he's just he's a heat-seeking missile when he's on the field. He seeks and he destroys. If Noah gets in that film room and he becomes a film junkie at the collegiate level, Noah could be all SWAC. He could be an All-American. Like, the sky is the limit for Noah if he really goes into that weight room, and I'm sorry, not weight room, but film room, and becomes a film junkie. He's going to be great. Next up,
oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Kalauti Himuliu. I'm sorry. I know I pronounced that name wrong, but my man's is Polynesian. I think they call him Junior, so I'm going to just call him Junior as well. So with Junior, he's 6'1", 220 pounds, and he's a middle linebacker. Now, he is one of these guys who came on the bandwagon late. Like, I think he committed late. He's coming from Snow Community College, a community college that has put out a lot of talent and who you guys have been shopping with a lot. You just got Jalen Hughes last year from Snow Community College. So in terms of Junior, he plays smash mouth football. A true middle linebacker at heart. I love the way he plays the game. So not only is he a smash mouth kind of guy, meaning He loves the contact. He's going to meet you in them trenches, and you're not going to go anywhere when he meets you in those trenches. But, man, he plays well in coverage. He wraps up on his tackles. That's the most important thing. He wraps up on his tackles. We didn't see a lot of that last year outside of Aubrey Miller, but we're going to get it with him. We know that for sure. He wraps up on his tackles, he plays well in coverage, and he has great perimeter speed. Coach O is doing a great job with the guys that he selects to get to come to Jackson State. I haven't seen a miss on this list yet. After Junior, we have Javarian Jenkins, 6'2", 205-pound linebacker from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Now, he's coming from ULM. He also comes from Jones Community College. He played 5 games at ULM in 2020. And then in 2021, he went to a JUCO. In his JUCO, he played in 10 games where he was 4th on the team in tackles, totaling 42 overall. He had a forced fumble, and he also had a game-high 6 tackles versus Itawamba Community College. So Javarian Jenkins went the FBS route for 1 year. For whatever reason, he decided to leave, and then he went to the JUCO route and proved that, he can play. He just probably wasn't in the right situation at ULM. So now he's back at the Division I level, and we'll see if we're going to get the JUCO version of Javarian or if you're going to get the ULM version of Javarian. Time will tell. After Javarian Jenkins, you have Alan Walker from Louisiana Tech. What more can I say about Allen other than this dude looks as big as Aubrey Miller? He looks just as big as Aubrey Miller. And he's taller, 6'2", 230 pounds. All right. And I'm just gonna tell you about his time at Louisiana Tech. So he only redshirted after playing 1 game as a true freshman. He redshirted. Comes back in his redshirt freshman year, plays in 7 games, totals 10 tackles, and he had 2 starts. Goes in his redshirt sophomore year, he plays in 12 games, only totals 13 tackles. In his redshirt junior year, he plays in 10 games, 2 less than the previous year, mostly on special teams. Clearly, Louisiana Tech was not the right fit for him, but he stayed the course and tried to see if he can make things shape. Didn't work out. He's in the transfer portal. Now we'll see if Coach O and Coach TC and whoever the defensive coordinator is going to be or his position coach is going to be, we'll see if they can turn Alan Walker into something. Why do I say that? Because like I said, from a body perspective, he reminds you of Aubrey Miller. After Mr. Walker, we have Traylon Richardson. Now, there's not much to be said on Mr. Richardson other than he's a linebacker. He's 6'2", 215 pounds, and he's from Midwest Oklahoma High School. So Traylon Richardson he's going to be a freshman coming in, and maybe we'll hear about it. We'll hear more about him as he gets to Jackson State. But right now, he's a relatively quiet kid coming in. So after Traylon, though, we got Philip Webb. Philip Webb, linebacker, 6'4", 210, a transfer from LSU. Guys, I don't think y'all understand. Philip Webb was one of the top recruits in the country in his class. Him and Antonio Doyle. I think they were in the same class, and they were 2 of the top 10 linebackers in the class. You, as a Jackson State, you now have 2 top 10 linebackers in the country of that class whenever they came out. That is huge. It is going to go a long way in seeing what these guys are going to do because you've replenished that linebacker core even after losing the heart and soul of your defense, Aubrey Miller. So I'm very excited to see what these 2 are going to do together. These are 2 big-time prospects coming out of high school who are still finding their way. And, one's found his home at Jackson State. We'll see if Philip Webb does so as well. After Philip Webb, we got Kedrain Callaghan. Mr. Callaghan is a safety coming from ULM, 6 foot, 193 pounds, and a 3-star prospect. Now, in his freshman year for ULM, he only totaled 5 tackles. But then he comes back in his sophomore year, right, and has a much bigger season. He had 37 tackles, 23 of them were solo, and then he had 14 assist tackles. Now, after leaving ULM, he's trying to take his talents elsewhere, and he's decided to come to Jackson State. Kedrain Callaghan is going to be fighting for that spot with a lot of these other DVs that's on this list. So we'll see who ends up getting the job over who. After Mr. Callaghan, man, we got Bruce Batman Mitchell. You know who I'm talking about. He's a guy who's been on this channel before for an interview. Batman Mitchell is a cornerback coming from Lone Star, Texas. That's right, he's coming from Texas. A 3-star prospect who is a playmaker. This dude does nothing but make plays. He loves to play man corner. He loves to play press man on top of that. Also, his football IQ is what's most desirable about him as a prospect. This kid comes in with a high football IQ, which is not surprising because you're coming from Texas. You know, they don't play that in Texas. You have to know what you're doing. A lot of these high school Texas teams treat their schools like they're a college team. So that's the great thing about Bruce Batman Mitchell. He's coming in with a lot of discipline. He's going to come in shape. He's going to come in with high football IQ. Bruce Batman Mitchell is a guy that maybe you won't start in your freshman year, but you got to find a way to get him on the field. You have to. He's a playmaker. After Batman, we got B.J. Washington. A guy who, honestly, if I'm being real with you, could be on the other side of Esias Guthrie. I'm not calling it, but I think he could be on the other side of Esias Guthrie. Why? Because B.J. Washington is a safety, and he's a hard-hitting safety. He reminds me of Carl Joseph and what Carl Joseph used to be for West Virginia back in the day. Yo, B.J. Washington, that's his comp to me. Carl Joseph. Crazy 8 Carl Joseph. Now, at 5'11", 180 pounds, he comes from Florida, Mississippi. That's where he's from. Then he went to Northwest Mississippi Community College, where he absolutely balled out. I mean, this dude was all over the field. And trust me, just because he's a hard-hitting safety does not mean he can't cover. As a matter of fact, he can cover just as well as any other safety on this list. But when it comes to him, his strength is just being a hard-hitting, disruptive safety. That's who he is at heart. And man, like I said, he's going to create a lot of big plays. Headache Gang might have left. He can create his own in Jackson State. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to meet this guy over the middle. After B.J. Washington, we have Joshua Short. Now, Joshua Short, 5'10", 175 pounds, and he's coming from the rival school of Southern University. Now, a lot of people was wondering, well, what made him come from Southern University to Jackson State? Maybe the answer is clear. His brother, Philip Short, is the quarterback for Jackson State. They are related. So I guess that's why he made the transition from Southern University to Jackson State. But he is 5'10", 175 pounds. Still has a lot of eligibility left. All right, so listen, Joshua is going to provide some much needed relief in that slot position. And we're going to see him battle it out with the rest of those cornerbacks to see who gets that slot position after Isaiah did such a great job in it last year. And after Joshua Short, we have Jace Ward. He is a guy who I was going to put on the offensive video because he also plays tight end, but he's a linebacker. And he's 6'1", 215 pounds, coming from Carrollton, Georgia. All I can say about Jace is that he's a beast. I mean, he's beastly fast. As a matter of fact, he's a guy who Sharp Sports, if you know anything about the sports YouTube channels on YouTube, Sharp Sports is one of the biggest channels there is. And he was talking about Jace Ward and how, you know, when Prime was there, he was committed to Prime and how he was getting the good one. No, this guy is beastly fast, man. I mean, just a very fast individual, very disruptive because of that speed, because if you can't touch him, you can't block him. So there's that. Like, Jace Ward is really disruptive in that aspect. He sticks out into your screen when you're watching this tape. He sticks out to you. On top of that, very versatile. Very versatile. And of course, like I said, he plays tight end. So if you want to put him on the offensive side of the ball to give you some relief, you can do that. If Hayden Hagler or DJ isn't working out, you could put Jace at tight end and he won't miss a beat. So there you have it. That is your 2023 Jackson State recruiting class video. For the defense, at least. If you want to go see the offense, like I said, that video has already been put up. But man, this has been very fun to make. This is the Jackson State 2023 recruiting class. Next up will be South Carolina State. Like I said, Mississippi Valley, Alabama State, more schools are coming. So, you know, we'll try to get all those pumped out. But let me know what you think about this class down below in the comment section now that you've seen both the offense and the defense. With that being said, you are watching the BlitzCity Podcast. I'm your host, Kobe Orr, and I'm out. Peace.